Hi, I'm wondering if you can pinpoint one moment in your life that changed the whole trajectory of your life. Well, I can, and I'm going to share that story with you right now because it's amazing how one total stranger and maybe a 10-minute interaction totally changed the course of my life. I had been working for a local retailer in management and was being trained as an assistant manager in a different department. And in my future, I was going to be transferred to a different store in that area, and I would have to be working the closing shift, which meant I'd be working till 11:30 at night every night. And I had school-aged kids. I was a single mom, and I didn't know how I was going to cope with not being able to be available to them in the evenings. So one day I was just working away, and my regional director called, and she said, "I need you to go work at the Coastal store. They need help with their freight. Could you do that tomorrow?" And I said, "That'd be great." So I putted over to the coast and went to work. And in the course of the day, I learned that the manager of that department that I was helping in, that I was being trained for, he was not happy, and he was likely going to be leaving soon. And I also learned that the current assistant manager was leaving the department. So there was going to be an opening. So I thought, that's interesting. And I just didn't really think a whole lot more about it. Well, in the course of the day, I sold a television to a customer. And that was 20 years ago. And at that time, you had to carry them out on a dolly because they weighed a ton. So I took the TV out to the customer's car, and I got outside and I looked around and went, whoa. Mind you, this is mid-October. And I had always considered the coast, this is Oregon, the coast would be pouring down rain most of the time, or windy, or just basically miserable. But this day, it was probably about 1 o'clock. It was shirt sleeve weather. It was just beautiful out there. There was blue sky, no wind, nothing. It was just like, and I said to myself, no one ever told me it was like this at the coast, because my opinion of the coast was it was always raining. So I decided to go back in and call Marcia and let her know I'd like to move over to the coast. So I called Marcia and I asked her, how would you feel about me moving to the coast as an assistant? She goes, "That'd be great." And so I said, "Really? Okay." So I packed up my kids. I had 2 kids in school at the time. I packed them up, got them scheduled for school in our new community, found a place to live. There was one place for rent in the local newspaper. I got it, and it just happened to be 1 minute from where I was going to be working. So it was great. Plus, at this particular store, at this particular time, they closed at 9 o'clock, not 11. So even if I had to work a closing shift, I was 1 minute away from work, and it would only take me, I'd be home by 9:30 at the latest. So things were looking up. So by the 31st of October, I was working at my new job. Now, I stayed there as an assistant from October to April, and then then I became the manager, and I was the manager from April to July, where the store director at the time was just this insufferable human being and was not willing to work with me about my schedule so that I could be with my kids, and etc. So I found another job with the local State Farm agent and was able to work 8 to 5, Monday through Friday. When I worked the other job, it was all over the place. I had no set schedule, so my life was work. I had no time to pursue anything. So once I got into that position, I got involved in theater, and I met a man. I went and moved in with him. We all moved in with him. And at that point, my art life just took off. I found my inner creativity that I didn't even know I had. And I started doing stained glass mosaics, and then I started really getting involved in theater. I was singing, acting, directing. I've been doing it all for 20 years. I'm still here, and I still love it. And I have done more things than I ever thought I would do. Plus, I that relationship didn't work out. And shortly after, I met my late husband, who has since passed away. But he and I ended up publishing a magazine for 10 years. And it was, I had this freedom. I could still do all my hobbies. I only worked a little bit during the day. I'd had a couple of months that were really critical, but the rest of the time it was just a little bit here and there, just making this magazine come together. And so that one person that bought that TV that day totally changed my life. And I've often thought, what if I hadn't been the one to sell the TV to that guy? Or what if I hadn't been the one to take the TV outside? Because if I hadn't gone outside, I was in the part of the store where you don't see the outside. You know, we're in the inner part. You don't see this. You really just don't have any reason to go near a window. And so I would have left at 5 o'clock and it would have been dark and I would not have known what a beautiful day it was. So that person, whoever it is, I have no idea, totally changed my life for the better. I've thought about what if I'd stayed in the other bigger city and my kids had gone to bigger schools and been in a totally different environment. What would they have turned out like? I wouldn't have met my husband. I wouldn't have done all this theater and all this wonderful things. I wouldn't be doing this. I wouldn't be painting. I wouldn't be doing all of this art. If that hadn't happened, I would probably likely have just recently retired from that place. I would have been basically a slave. So I am, just mind you, middle management is basically just glorified slavedom. Just so you know. Anyway, that's my story about how I ended up in my beautiful home that I love and my location that I love. And just that one pivotal moment changed my whole life. Now I'm wondering if you have a moment like that you'd like to share. I would really love to hear it. I just love hearing people's stories. So I hope you have a wonderful day, evening, life, whatever it is right now. And I appreciate you so much for listening. If you want to subscribe to my channel, that'd be great because I plan on sharing other tales from life. All right. Have a great day.